Hey guys, what's up? This is Climbing Gym Rat. I'm back and I want to break down for you guys the Speed Climbing World Championships in Bern. In part one, today I'm going to be breaking down 5 runs from the qualifying, and in part two, I'm going to be breaking down runs from the finals. Bit of background before we start. Speed climbing is the fastest discipline in climbing. The goal is to get to the top as fast as possible. In the qualified event, you're going to be qualifying for a bracket style race that will take place later in the finals. That's what these athletes are doing. It's 49 feet and 20 holds that are numbered by the number hold they are. The world record for men is 4.9, for women it's 6.25. The first person I wanted to react to is the Argentinian on the right. I'll let it go all the way through, and then I'll break it down a little bit more slowly. It's pretty slow for a world championship run, but it's a PR for him, and as far as I'm aware, it's a PR for this beta, which is why I wanted to react to it. So especially around the start, this is a unique beta where he skips hold number 4, and a lot of people do this method that you'll see the guy on the left doing called Samoa, where you put 3 limbs on that hold number 3, this one over here, and grow straight up to here. Now, you can already tell that they're doing something different because the Argentinian's lean all the way on the right here to propel himself over to the left, right into this foothold. Whereas the Ukrainian is straight under the climb. He's going to be preparing to go straight upwards. When they start, the Ukrainian's going straight upwards. He's going, the Argentinian's going over to the left, and their center of gravity is sort of different. What the dude on the left is doing is Tomoa, and it's much more common, and it's the world record beta right now for men and women. But we're watching the dude on the right, and this unique beta that he does is usually a lot better for taller climbers. Really tall and really lanky. That's why we're watching it right now. But once he's done with that, he gets into this ladder portion, which is pretty standard. You want to keep your body as close to the center line of the route as possible. But he does it a little bit different than most climbers right here, where he reaches his left hand out to the left. This is different from most climbers because it throws your center of gravity off of that main line that I was telling you about. You can see the guy on the left doesn't do that. He matches on this hold, which keeps his body in more straight a line. When you're taller, it's a little bit easier to have your body more spread out and take advantage of that. He'll also skip this hold right here, which is number 14. The Ukrainian did not do that, but Argentinian will because he's so tall. And more standard finish, which we'll talk about later, called the Chinese. Although, again, because he's tall, the Ukrainian puts his right foot on this hold, number 15, whereas the Argentinian puts his right foot on this little crimp hold. We call this the crimp instead because his legs can reach that far. A really different, really unique beta, but it's probably not going to be a world record beta anytime soon, but this is the fastest I've ever seen it done. So I wanted to share that with you guys. The next run is by a Korean. I'll let it play all the way through, and then I'll break it down and react to it in slow motion. I'm basically reacting to this on the fly because I don't really remember why I wrote these down as special, but right. Really, all I wanted to talk about here was this last movie does, which I've never seen before, and I think is very unique, where he hits the buzzer twice somehow to save his run. And I guess I wanted to talk a little bit about buzzers and pressure pads, which they use in the World Championships, and why that happened. What climbers used to do in speed was have a laser at the bottom, a laser at the top, and your foot had to be on the laser at the bottom until the buzzer went, until 0.1 seconds after the buzzer went, and your hands had to break the laser at the top to stop the time. But what they do now is a pressure pad instead. So instead of just having to break the laser, you have to actually put pressure on the bottom and then put pressure on the top, which is a lot more accurate, but also a little bit inconsistent for the athletes. The athletes are more likely to make a mistake. So you can see here, he does touch the pad, but when he touches it, it doesn't register as hit because it wasn't hard enough, and this is a pressure pad. So you see he would have gone a sub 5.5 time, but he doesn't. And strategy that they use, which I find very interesting, but I've never seen in action, which is paying very close attention after you hit it, that you have hit it, and he's still able, even though he's basically falling, to reach back and hit it again as he's coming down. So that saved his run, even though it won't be fast enough for him to make it into qualifying now. But that's how buzzers work at all high level competitions now. For the next run, I want you to focus on the Ukrainian on the left. I believe he also has a unique beta that he broke the record for today. So, yeah. So that was a lot faster than the last beta break we saw. It was sub 6. Different. Instead of skipping hold 4, he skips hold 5, which isn't very common because it really throws your body out of that middle line that goes right at the middle of the climb. So it's pretty rare to see this, but it also gives you a lot of power and energy, especially if you're taller. He comes up the ladder a lot quicker. Yeah, again, he's just doing this so much faster than last new beta we looked at. He also skips this hold 14. Gets his right foot on the crimp, which most climbers don't do. And finally, instead of grabbing the pinch, like most climbers would do in the traditional Chinese, which is the beta where you go up the left side of these holds, he grabs the top of the hold, which is a much bigger jug, allows him to get a lot more power up into this swing. The next climber I wanted to talk about was Bassem from France. He's on the left side. Um, He is very popular within the speed climbing community because he's been at the top level for a long time. He's the Olympic record holder for speed climbing, and his beta is very different from anyone else's. He's very tall. He's 6'2", and he uses that to his advantage in a sport where most people are much shorter than him, like the world record holder, who's only 5'4". I'll let it play all the way through. Um, You can sort of compare his route to the person on the left, who isn't super fast, but he's doing a very standard beta. That's the fastest I've ever seen a run with Boss's beta done. Um, so you can already see that he's doing something different at the start. Um, the traditional meta right now is to stand right under the third hold, so you can already start out with your center of gravity in a straight line, going all the way up through the ladder, so you don't have to move around a bunch and lose a lot of energy and horizontal momentum when you're trying to go upwards. The beta right now is also to place both hands on the first hold, one hand on the jug, your left hand, and one hand sort of crimping the top of it with your right hand. Bossa doesn't do that. He puts his left hand on the jug of the first hold and his right hand sort of on the top sloper of the second hold. So he's also standing way far out to the right so he can catapult himself over like this. He has a small smear with his right foot here and a left foot right here that stops his momentum. And then he begins going upwards and skips this number 5 hold in the middle, and then performs a pretty straight line up through the ladder. Um, he does a variation of the one-arm dyno where he does step up onto this hold. You'll see the guy on the left do a traditional one-arm dyno where you match this hold. Bossa doesn't do that. Bossa does do the step-up dyno, but he brings his left hand over to this 12 hold, and he continues up through the ladder, or the second ladder, using this hold. He matches on hold 16 and performs the Chinese, grabbing the pinch like most people do, like the Ukrainian didn't. That's a time that will qualify him for finals. So he's still at the top of his game with a really different and really unique meta. Next climber I wanted to talk about did not make it to the finals, but it was a record-breaking run, so I thought I'd show it. He's the guy on the left from South Africa, and this is the African continental record. I'll let it play through. So yeah, this is not going to qualify him for finals, but I will break it down for you guys, especially as it is the same beta as the world record holder. If you haven't seen that video, you should check it out. It's also on my channel. I'll break it down, the world record beta right now, I guess, so that I have one of those in this video. So he does Tomoa, which is where you skip this hold over here, named after Tomoa Narasaki, by putting all three limbs right here. The ladder is a pretty straightforward, simple climb. When you get out of it, you approach this dyno. There are a couple of different ways to do this. What beginners will usually do is use these footholds here to stop, put both hands on this hold, and then go up to these two. What the higher level athletes will do will just put one hand, their left hand on this hold number 10, put their right foot over on 8, and do sort of a step up dyno so they can launch their right hand all the way up to this one, match on it. The advantage of this is you're not going out here or throwing your center of gravity out here, which keeps your body in a straighter line, which is what speed climbing is all about, really. A lot of different methods for this. Probably the most varied section on the speed wall. The traditional method is to go out to these two holds and these two holds with your feet and sort of make a box and then jump up and use all the holds going up. Some climbers will skip this crimp and use these two holds to get into this position, especially more common around the women. But what most male climbers will do nowadays is called the Chinese, which is where you put your right foot up on 15 and you launch yourself over to these two holds, staying away from this one. Again, the idea is to keep a straight line right up the middle. You smear for a second with your left foot as you get your left hand on this pinch here, and then you pull up, get your right foot on 18, and hit the top. I'm going to be having part 2 coming out in a week or so, analyzing the finals of the Bern 2023 World Championship Speed. So subscribe to stay tuned so you can watch that. Also like this video if you enjoy this kind of content, and let me know in the comments what other runs I should analyze, either from Bern or beforehand. If you haven't seen my other videos breaking down the male and female speed climbing world records, check those out. Thanks.